the greater blue-eared starling. It looks very similar to the Cape glossy starling, but it lacks a slightly green sheen, and it also does have some dark ear coverts. Okay, so we're going to look around for some fresh sightings for the next 15 to 20 minutes. The reason for not heading straight towards the Nkuhuma Pride is that there's not much fun in that. It's a known entity that we have been aware of for the last 48 hours, and it would have been ludicrous not to try and follow up on these male lion tracks, fresh male lion tracks, who we haven't seen for a while, those big males. That plan has failed miserably, and now we're just looking and checking some areas that I know no other vehicles have driven down this morning. And once we have checked these roads and understood what may have happened here last night, then we'll slowly make our way towards the Nkuhuma Pride, who I believe are still busy finishing off that hippo carcass that they've been feeding on for 48 hours now. I've noticed a few balls of dung in the road there that we're driving past. It's old elephant dung, not very fresh, probably from early yesterday afternoon. And it really is interesting how the elephants do come and go off the property. They are not bound by territories and can move huge distances in search of food. Don't see very commonly, and I don't think I have shown it to you before. It's called the common scimitar. They're not very common, and I was hoping to show that to you. It has probably already been ticked off a lot of your bird lists. There are some of our viewers who have been growing a bird list, and I think one of the biggest groups is on over 150 animals or birds. She's very gently twisting that branch and stripping the bark, which is the only thing she's interested in. She's not interested in feeding on any of the leaves, and she's just stripping off that external cambium layer. And we find them doing this a lot at this time of the year. Oh, that the whole mouthful, she gobbled leaves and all. I can hear more elephants deeper into the block, and hopefully they'll all be coming towards us. They seem to have relaxed, so I'm going to try and get into a better position. There's some more pearl spotted owlets calling, the same little bird that was calling earlier. Bless you. You can see the youngster sniffing the mammary glands of its mother, and it's a little bit old, it appears, and it's probably trying its luck. Well, it certainly is trying its luck, and you may have noticed the mother barged it a little bit there to prevent it from continuing to try and suckle from her.
Out of Nkuhuma, living 116 lock, space with you.
Yes, thanks, Andrew. Andrew, just a quick question. What's the deal with this Madonna? Is he on his own?
Sorry, come again?
Yeah, how many Madonnas does this pride have normally?
That was born in that pride, so there's only one left, that young male, so it's about 3 years old. And yeah, the father, the two males, Matimba, I think they're on the south this time.
Okay, God bless. Thanks, Andrew.
She's acting very, very interestingly here, so we're going to keep an eye on her. It looks like she could be in season, and the way she was walking there was absolutely bizarre.
Brent. Morning.
Absolutely bizarre. It was almost like some kind of a crazy dance move she was performing as she walked towards us, and she's continuing to do it now. She's relaxed. The fact that she's still feeding makes me feel more comfortable about the whole scenario, but her behavior was bizarre as she approached us. She was scraping her back legs, kind of crisscrossing her back legs against one another as she walked. Initially I thought she may have had a limp or some kind of an issue, but I've now noticed that she does appear like she possibly could be in season. There's a bit of moisture between those back legs. Let's watch as she walks in, or maybe she was just scratching an itch between her back legs as she walked. It really was bizarre though. They really do look impressive when they hold their ears out, and that is just a strength display and size display, obviously making them look as big and fierce as possible. I wonder what that was all about. Quite thick where they're heading. I'm going to see if we can try and get another view of them and the rest of the herd. They appear to be feeding in the wrong direction for our needs. It's going to become too thick for us to sneak in there and film them without impacting on their daily ongoings. So let's continue on towards the lion. We're not far from them, and see what they're up to. them calling this morning and decided to follow their tracks, which led us all over the show, everywhere and everywhere, anywhere except for where they are. Just heard a squirrel alarm calling. I just want to get a bit closer into that area. Let's see if we can hear it calling again. Squirrels are one of our best friends when it comes to finding predators because they let off an alarm call that we can hear from quite far. The only catch is that it could be for any predator, a small mongoose, a bird of prey, or something big like a lion or a leopard. As I was saying though, we've had no luck with the tracks of the male lions, and hopefully we'll be able to decipher and understand where they are or where they've headed to at some stage. Just about done now, but the lions are still there. Cindy on Twitter, good morning and thanks for sending through your question about elephants. Cindy would like to know if elephants hang around in one area and if any herd may be easier to find than another. And it's no to both of those questions, I guess. They are not territorial and therefore move huge distances. And it doesn't, in my history or my understanding, make any difference between one herd and another. They can all equally move huge distances. They're not bound by territory, and simply move wherever they think they're going to be the most comfortable, get the most food and water. And therefore there's no difference between tracking down one herd of elephant compared to another. It's all luck really at the end of the day. Oh, some warthogs. They're not going to be relaxed in this thick vegetation, that's for certain. But there's one that may just cross the road again, so get ready on the road, Vim. Oh, good morning. They feel very insecure when they are in... Oh, there you go, tail up. Not taking any chances. And when we do find animals in thick vegetation like this, especially animals like warthog that are very short and therefore understandably scared and nervous in thick vegetation where they can hardly see around them, they'll act quite nervously. Whereas if we were to see the same warthog on an open plain, they'd be a lot more relaxed because they can see around, they know there's no threats. Made a comment on Twitter that she also thought that elephants had something wrong with her legs. Speaking of elephants, some just blocked our road, but we can get around fairly easily. And I agree that elephant certainly looked like it had something wrong with its legs initially, but I simply think she was walking up to us with an itch between her back legs, and she was kind of scraping her legs against one another, trying to relieve that itch, and that's what made it appear that there was something wrong with her. few more minutes until we get to these lions, so sorry it's taken so long, but we are eventually getting there. Also, just to recap and remind everyone, it's just been myself out this morning. Brent's vehicle has been having some trouble with the steering, and the mechanics come in to try and solve that problem. And hopefully this afternoon we'll be back out with 2 vehicles. Lisa on Twitter, good morning. Lisa's interested to know whether I thought that elephant that did the funny leg maneuver could possibly be pregnant. And yes, I did have a brief look, and she could be. Also, just judging from the size of her calf, which looked to be old enough for her to be able to be giving birth to another one. They give birth every 3 to 5 years on average. And it seemed like that calf could well have been old enough to fit into that kind of rough schedule that elephants have when it comes to reproduction. So it certainly could have been pregnant. Well noticed there, Lisa. With the Nkuhumas. Morning. I'm very close by, but I'm aware it's just yourself there. Do you mind if I join? Copy, thanks. Look at this. Jackpot. There's a beautiful herd of illies drinking down at the dam if you're interested.
Yes, did they just arrive? I think
Well, it looks like it has just arrived. This is awesome.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Look at this. There's one female on the left who's giving us a little bit of attitude, and she's got a very young calf. Oh, good morning. What a beautiful setting after a relatively tricky morning. A sight like this is a very, very welcome relief. And I'm wondering if they're not going to come and move past us as they continue on their way. The mother, who's giving us a little bit of attitude, is coming closer into shot, so we're just going to have to keep an eye on her. And it's possibly because she has what appears to be the smallest calf, whose head's just poking out now. There it is. Tail being hauled out horizontally, an indicator of excitement. And let's see if it knows how to use its trunk. Oh, not bad. Not bad at all, but still some work to be done. That is too cute. I seem to be getting quite excited and worked up. I'm not too sure why. It's probably because there's the scent of lion in the area. The lion would have been coming and drinking at this dam many, many times. And I'm fairly certain that that's what is causing these elephants to behave as they are. And that's maybe even why we're getting a little bit of attitude along the way. Oh, there's a lion poking out there to the right here. Looks like it's coming down to drink. So it's all happening here.
I don't have a clear shot on the line.
Okay. Look at this. This is going to be awesome. Lion and elephants in the same frame. And this is exactly why the elephants are nervous. I wonder why this lioness is moving so intently up in this direction away from the kill. I wonder if she hasn't heard something or know of something. I would have thought that she would have just come down for a drink and then move off. There's so much going on, but I am going to ask VM to try and pan across. There's a beautiful shot of all these elephants walking in one long line away from us. Look at that. Absolutely awesome. Sorry VM, I should have kept you back on the line, and if you don't mind trying to go back there quickly, there's an elephant now chasing the lion. Not the trees in the way. Too much going on all of a sudden. Much we can do from here, but I'm going to try get a slightly different angle for them. But there's too much vegetation in our way. The majority of these ellies have moved off now. Now elephants understandably don't like lion, even though it's a very unlikely thing for lion to catch elephants in this area. It can still happen, and they simply don't like them. Okay, copy, there you are. Okay, I'm going to try and reposition now because we can't see much from where we are anymore. I want to see what happens with the lioness and that one elephant over there. Again, I'm interested that that lioness was moving so far away from the rest of the pride. She seemed intent on something. What exactly, I'm not too sure. And then got chased by an elephant. Let's see if we can't get a spot here. Just want to see if we can't get an angle of what's going on with the one lioness and the elephants over here.
Yeah, Scott, did you see I think it was an Ingala there on the other side, moving to the right?
Affirmative, yes, thank you. Got no visual of it now, but it certainly was there.
Yeah, have you still got vision of that one, of that Ingala?
No, negative. It was just north of where the Ellie is now. It headed up towards that dead knobthorn. Was the last I saw of it.
Copy. It was going quite steep. I wonder if it's going to Buzumati.
Yeah, it's just up on the northeastern edge of the dam now. I don't know if you can see it from where you are, but it's coming along the eastern side, yeah.
Okay, Galanaya.
Well done, VM. Where is this lion heading off to? What's got its attention? And why does it want to move away from this waterhole when the rest of the pride is still here? Very, very interesting. I think we should go and find out. Let's go see what this lady's up to. We will join up with the rest of the pride later. But for now, I am really intrigued to know what is going on. This lioness, from the moment we saw her, she was moving intently up in this direction. And I know that there's two prides of lion, the Torture Pride and the Nkuhuma Pride, which have actually co-fed on the same kill before. And I'm wondering if this isn't a lioness from another pride that's come in to join in on this free action and is now heading off. I mean, that's just one possibility. Or is it that she's a lion? Or is it because she's a lion, a potential elephant hunter? Who knows? It is going to be worth watching her for a while and understanding what has caused it to move right onto the opposite dam of where the kill is. Maybe she just does want to drink, but wanted to get away from the elephants that have been chasing her. I'll try and get us back into a spot where we can see her. Yeah. And? VM. Yeah. What's your name? Billy. Oh, hello, Billy. Hello, everyone. Cool. The Ngana just there, but the Bamba was this side. Yeah, I saw the Bamba. Okay. Just somewhere in here. It'll be really interesting to see how much of it's left. I can see another lion heading away from the kill. Oh, and look at this. A hooded vulture slinking for not only scraps but also the feces of the lion that they will feed on. It really is bizarre to think what some animals eat and enjoy eating. And lion feces would probably be the last thing on earth I would like to eat. Yet this bird loves it. Wouldn't it be nice if we could find some, or find a shot of it actually feeding on it. That's what it's looking for now. It can feed on remains of the carcass, but as you'll notice, it's got a very thin and delicate bill, the most small and delicate of all of the vultures in this area. Interestingly enough, we can see the remains of the jaw of the hippo here. It's I think possibly, I can't tell whether it's the bottom or the top jaw. but we'll keep looking around. They've completely taken this carcass to pieces, and I think we've established enough now that the meat here is finished. Some hyena could still come in here and have some fun. But the carcass has been torn into a million little pieces. And there's no sign of any skin. I believe there's a lot of the thick hide in the area yesterday. This is the first time I'm coming here. But there doesn't appear to be any hide or skin. There's just a few bones scattered about all over the show. I'm surprised there's not more vultures here. Oh, well, here's some more lions. So let's see what's going on here. I think they could just be relaxing in the shade. Yeah, or no? No, I think they may have. Oh, here's the skin. So this little cub is. There we go. There's the hippo hide that this little cub is playing with. I'm going to try and see if we can. Oh, it's going to be difficult to get in there. But there's the large piece of skin that's obviously too thick and chewy for the lions to process. But that cub's just playing around, and the cubs will get the least food. Even at kills like this where there's an enormous amount of meat, the cubs will be the ones that get access to the lesser cuts or the non-prime cuts, and therefore that is why it's probably still trying to gorge itself on whatever leftovers it can find. I think our best option is to go and sit with the lions that are at the waterhole. It's too thick to get into that spot. So we will let them be there. It will be the father's role, the male's role to do that. So it's not the lioness's job to get rid of their kids. It is the male's, the father's jobs to do that. And here we have 5 of the 8 members of this pride. I could see another 2 back where we were at the remains of the carcass. So there must have just been another one behind the bushes back there that we couldn't see. What you can see though is that they are full bellied and very, very relaxed. They've been here for just over 48 hours now, and a very successful hunting operation has allowed them to feast for days. It's uncommon for a lion to catch and kill hippo, even small ones, because their parents will often try and defend them, and an adult hippo is a force to be reckoned with. Or east, which is what I'm guessing they're going to do. Hopefully they prove me wrong and come to the south, deeper into Djuma. Either way though, we certainly have got our fix of lion sightings over the last 48 hours, and a welcome relief. It had been a while since we had some quality lion sightings, and if and when they do move off, it'll give us some time to focus on another apex predator, the leopard, who've also been eluding us yesterday. We had a great sighting of Nkuhuma, a dominant male, yesterday, but other than that, we've been battling with the leopards. Thankfully though, Archer, there's always something to look at, and even though there's ups and downs, there's always some great stuff going on the property. What has this one lion seen here? I think it may have seen a terrapin. Something's got its attention on the water's edge there. I can't seem to see anything. It's looking very intently at something. Even if it was a slippery terrapin. Good question from Remay, and thanks Remay for your question. Remay's asking whether vultures are edible to lions, and I've never actually seen or heard of a lion eating a vulture, but they will certainly try and catch and kill them and chase them away from their kills. Once they have caught and killed them, it wouldn't be hugely surprising for a lion to feed on a vulture though. There's no reason why they shouldn't or wouldn't, and lion, even when they kill other predators or even other lions, occasionally feed on them. So a lot does depend on the individual lions and scenario, but what I found is often written in textbooks is that predators will not feed on other predators. They'll simply kill them for competition. That is not always the case. Quite often actually I've seen predators feeding on other predators, even if it is the same species that they've killed. And a lion then feeding on a vulture would fall into that same category, I guess. It certainly would be a funny thing to see a lion trying to pluck the feathers of a vulture, because you can imagine all of the feathers getting stuck in the lion's mouth. It happens more often with leopard, who can catch birds with a little bit more ease than lion. But in all my time I've seen lion chase vultures very often, but never managed to actually catch one. So I think we're gonna possibly stay here for another 5 or 10 minutes and then head off and see what else we can find. These lions are going to be fast asleep and not providing much action. And I think it may be in our best interest to go and try and find something else. Well, just got an interesting question through from Dennis in Spain. And he wants to know, which animal have we not seen ever being killed by a predator? And basically, there is no animal in Africa that I can think of that has not fallen prey to, mainly lion, I guess, as they are capable of catching the larger animals like elephants, like rhino, like hippo. So those would be probably the 3 most difficult animals to take down for lion. Other interesting animals like catfish and birds can also be hunted by a leopard. So there's basically nothing that's completely safe in Africa from the predators. Even though it's highly uncommon for lions to take down elephants, it does happen and can happen. The lioness with her head up has seen some Inyala approaching the waterhole. Now, with a full belly, I'm going to be inclined to think that if they do have an attempted hunt, it's going to be half-hearted. But another one's also just picked up her head. It means 2 of them are interested, which is great.
But probably now.
So the peninsula up towards the left of the shots is where you can see the Inyala coming down to drink now. If the lions weren't full-bellied, it would be a very, very different scenario. But the fact that they are makes me think that they are simply going to look from afar. Hopefully they prove me wrong. It is important to understand that most predators, or all predators, are highly opportunistic. It's very difficult for them to catch their prey. Therefore, even when they are full-bellied, if they get given another opportunity to hunt, they will take that opportunity.
But now I'm starting with the fabric.
And I know from the lie of the land where those Inyala are going to drink that there's a lot of work for these lions still to do, but they are getting up.
I just get another leather west of the dam, then I took that one.
And they might actually provide us with a bit of excitement. I'm just going to have to try and get into a slightly better position, because if and when something does happen, we are not going to be able to see it from here. You'll notice the other lion are not quite sure of what's going on, but they surely should soon get an understanding that there is a potential hunt on the cards here. And the more of them that get involved, the more likely it is that there will be a chance of them catching one. They rely on hunting in a pack. We're going to go through a dip again, so the signal might cut off, but we have to get onto that side of the dam if we need to see any action. So bear with us, the signal could break, but it'll come back as soon as we get through this dip. Okay, so like I said, there's a very small chance of something actually happening here. But we are certain. Where is the lion? No. So, as you can see, there's still three remaining there. There's one up to the right in the shade that I can see. The other one, and there's one missing, could be very close to that other lioness. And the Inyala are somewhere to our right, up on this peninsula over here. We can't see them from where we are, but the lion are all the way across there. There's a body of water between them and the Inyala. So not easy prospects, but they are still showing interest. And if anything, they could be getting themselves into a position where if the Inyala continue to head towards them, they'll be ready to ambush them. They cannot resist. Here come the Inyala here. They're already making their way away from the water. So they've managed to sneak in and sneak out without the lions even getting a chance to try and catch them. So a lucky day for the Inyala. And you'll notice that they don't waste any time around the waterhole. They came here, did what they needed to do, and are now making their way out on that exact same pathway. Which again is clever because they know it's a safe route. They've accessed the dam from this point and now are exiting the dam from the same point rather than walking around the dam, increasing their chances of being ambushed. The lion, as you can see, are just watching from afar. Well, that was exciting, the potential chance of a hunt. It's something that we see so seldomly. A lot of the hunting happens when we are not around or in thick vegetation where we may not be able to see exactly what happens. So the prospects of seeing these predators in action is always an exciting one. It's not that I've got any desire for there to be less Inyala around, but to see them hunting is something that I think is really awesome and something that sadly we don't get to see very often. There's a bataleur soaring above the lions. I wonder if it's gonna be able to find the hippo carcass. It shouldn't be hard, and it is very close by. It'll be really cool if we manage to see it actually lock targets and come down and start feeding on the leftovers. They do feed on carrion bataleurs, and I have been giving lessons as to how to differentiate between male and female bataleurs. So why don't you, the audience, let me know whether this is a male or a female. I know a lot of you will already know the answer to this, but there's new viewers that join every day, and this question goes out to the newcomers. Just got a question through from Jody in New Mexico. Thanks for this question. Jody would like to know if lions can kill crocodiles. And yes, they certainly can. And I haven't seen it personally, but I have seen footage of lions catching and killing crocodiles and feeding on them. I've also seen footage of leopard catching and killing crocodiles and eating them. But believe it or not, I've also heard of male lions. And size matters out here. Small crocodiles, and I'm saying a baby crocodile, will be fed on by a host of different predators, but as that crocodile becomes bigger, it's going to have less and less opponents. A lot also depends on the specific scenario. If we think of this dam, for example, there's been a relatively large crocodile that inhabited this dam for a couple of weeks. But then when that crocodile needs to move from this dam to another dam, it's going to be very vulnerable, traveling overland large distances, and it's then, when it doesn't have the safety and retreat of the water, that lion may potentially be the ones who have a better chance of killing it. Whereas when it's in the water and it's got that element of surprise and ambush, it can catch even and kill even the biggest of predators out here. I'm sure a number of leopard have also been gobbled up over the years. Good question, though, a nice one, because it helps understand that different scenarios and different situations will lead to different outcomes, even though the same animals may be involved in the different scenarios. The outcomes will differ greatly. Okay, well done to Virginia on Twitter. You were the first person to send in the correct answer for the Bateleur eagle flying around, or the gender of that eagle, and it is in fact a female. You would have noticed that she had a very white strip underneath her wings, and this is indicative of the female. The males will have half black and half white, and the good news is VM, I'm going to ask you to just pan up quickly. There's another Bateleur flying around, and it's a male, so you'll be able to see the difference between male and female. The initial one was a female with predominantly white under the wings, and this one you'll notice is half black, half white. We'll just wait for it to do one more circle, and then you'll be able to see more clearly. There we go. So within just a few minutes we've been able to see both a male and a female, and that's just awesome. They sadly haven't been able to see the hippo carcass, which maybe they have, I'm guessing they must have, and maybe they've decided against it, but I do know that there is more food available for them there. Obviously with their little beaks they can get access between the bones and cartilage of where the lions could not feed on. But they don't seem to be too interested in the leftovers of this hippo. Josh from the Gold Coast has noticed all these bubbles and ripples bubbling up on the surface of this waterhole, and a lot of this is caused by a combination of fish and terrapins that are moving under the surface of the water but causing these small bubbles and ripples. There's different types of fish that live in here. Some are quite small and some are quite big. The smaller fish are the tilapia that I've seen cormorants feeding on. It's a water hunting bird. As well as catfish. I've seen catfish poking their whiskers out of this dam. So a host of different animals. It can also often just be changes in oxygen levels in the water hole and in the soil below, and these sometimes bubble up very slowly from the bottom of the water hole. Well, I think it's fair to say that these lion are only going to move in order to stay in the shade today. They'll probably be in a slightly different position this afternoon as the sun moves from east to west. They are going to be forced to shuffle around and stay in a shady spot. It is great prospects for this afternoon's drive though, because I am 99% certain they will still be here, and that's really good news. The other good news is I'm hoping that we'll have 2 vehicles out this afternoon, and that way we can divide and conquer. Well, it's all peaceful and calm here at Buffelshoek Dam, so I think we should see if we can find anything in the last 15 minutes. Lisa's asking why the water in this dam is so green, and I think a lot of that may simply be from the reflection of the green foliage outside the dam. It's actually very brown and muddy, and that's from the amounts of animals coming through here, churning up the mud. And there is a little bit of algae in one section of the dam, so that could be a factor. We're going to go through this dip. We could lose signal, but hopefully we don't, and as we pop out the other side it should stabilize. On Twitter is interested to know how successful are lion roughly when it comes to hunting. So out of their attempted hunts, how many do they actually manage to bring down or become successful with? And figures I've heard thrown out are between 10 and 20% of attempted hunts end up in success, and I couldn't agree more with that. I've seen countless hunts of both lion and leopard, and 80 to 90% of the time it's a failure. So a lot will obviously depend on the individual leopard or the individual pride of lion, but on average it's a very low success rate, and that does make sense. The prey animals have learned over many, many years to avoid being eaten, and that's why they're still around. Those which didn't learn to avoid being eaten by lion are no longer here. So it's equal evolution that have allowed the lions to develop to a point where they can catch enough prey to survive, but also the prey to be able to escape the lions. Otherwise the lions would just be big fat furballs that don't have a tricky job. And there's nothing easy about being out here in nature. Even for the lions, they have their hardships, and getting food is one of them. To keep you updated, Brent has been searching and scouring the area, hoping to find these two male lions that took me around in circles for the first part of this morning's drive, and he also hasn't had any luck. So who knows what they could have done, but we certainly will not forget about them and try our best to find them this evening. It'll be great if we could have two lion sightings this evening, one that's already established was a two. I think it is two big ones, not just one. And I found those tracks all over the show. A squirrel alarm call. There's a little pathway that takes us down towards That's fine. There didn't appear to be anything there, although I didn't spend too much time snooping around because I wanted to try and rush back to a signal area. And just a couple of minutes left. We are approaching Gari Dam. So it'll be interesting to see who's there or who's on their way there. And for those of you that have been watching for the whole drive, you'll know that it's been a tricky one. It started off with a lot of driving around and not many animals, and apologies for that. I just got caught up in trying to find these male lions that were literally on our doorstep this morning and have somehow managed to evade us. But really happy that we arrived at the Nkuhuma Pride when we did. We got some great action of an Ellie chasing the one lioness, and then even just seeing all the Pride members lying up around the waterhole was a beautiful setting. Also interesting to see how that actually dismembered that hippo carcass, and even the top and bottom jaw had been disconnected. So they're going to be looking for another meal, possibly even tonight, but I think they certainly will be there this afternoon. So almost guaranteed lion viewing, and that's good news. There are probably these two males hiding somewhere on our property, and hopefully we'll be able to find them. There haven't been any leopard tracks that I saw this morning, any fresh leopard tracks. That's not to say there are no leopard around, but we've got no idea of where they're moving, if they are on the property. Anyway, we will find out this afternoon, but there are good prospects. And thanks very much to all of you for joining in. Thanks to VM on camera and to Nikki and Tara in Final Control. And we will spend the last minute or so with a view of this buffalo bull approaching the waterhole. We're just going to park up on the dam wall, and we will see you all this afternoon for the next adventure.